What's good, y'all? It's Crisco Fontaine. Appreciate you for pulling up to the stream. I really do appreciate it. I really do, from the bottom of my heart. We're about to get it started shortly, but hey, real quick, if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, por favor. And then hit that bell right next to it so that you get notifications when I upload things of that nature. If you get any fulfillment, get any entertainment value whatsoever from this stream today, and whenever I'm streaming, hit the like button. And if you don't rock with it, you can hit the dislike button too. It's cool. It helps the channel either way, man. Okay? So feel free to comment, chat. I'll try to be as interactive as possible. Once again, I do appreciate you for tuning in to the stream. And if you've already subscribed to the channel, thank you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Whatever is in there, I love you. Let's get into the stream. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. I got the monitor on. I do. I don't know why. My production, my pre-production meetings don't be going well with myself. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Crisco Fontaine, aka Coach Crisco. You see the title. So we are at the conference finals, and I'm sure the Final Four is the Final Four that everybody thought it was going to be. Oh, it's been an interesting playoffs thus far. Some chalk, a lot of upsets, but I can't even say that it's been upsets, to be honest with you. Speaking on the Western Conference, how packed the Western Conference was, I legitimately thought, outside of the play-in, once you got to 1 through 8, I thought everybody had a chance to come out of the West, maybe excluding Memphis. The Eastern Conference, it was pretty much 1 through 4. Yeah, I didn't think anybody outside of the top 4 had a chance. And, we look at it, we have number 1 seed and number 6 seed in the West, and we have a number 3 seed and number 4 seed in the East. So, not sure how many people had Minnesota making it back to the conference finals. I know there was a lot of people that didn't like the Cat trade, and I made a video on the Cat Julius Randle trade. It was one of my first videos, actually, and I vaguely remember saying that I thought that both teams won the trade. I thought they both got something that they lacked last year. I think Cat works well with New York because they have enough grimy players, just hustlers. They do the dirty work type players that is going to, I guess you could say, take up the slack that Cat might lack in that department. Because when you see Karl Anthony Towns, you don't think of any type of intimidation. I've seen so many compilations of him just looking real sus. So New York fits with him. They can kind of mask that, because all he had basically was Ant-Man. I mean, Jaden McDaniels, yeah. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, yeah, maybe, yeah. But outside of that, nah. You got Josh Hart, you got Mikal Bridges, he's scrappy. You got OG Anunoby. His name is OG. So, and you see his head and his jaw. Like, he can probably take a punch. So, I mean, he fits New York a little bit more. And then I think Julius gives Minnesota a different aspect just on the floor. Another guy, you can give him the ball, he can create and get to the basket. He's a bit more physical than Cat was. He fits more with Ant-Man style. And I went back to what I said earlier in the season, where Minnesota was a little bit rocky. They were struggling a little bit because they was trying to find their identity. Their identity had been Karl Anthony Towns for so long, and now you got another alpha in there, right? This is Ant-Man's team, but Karl Anthony Towns was the man. You trade Karl Anthony Towns, your identity goes along with him. You don't really know yourself. You don't really know yourself. So, it's hang on a second. Give me a second. Give me a second, por favor. Um, you give yourself a little bit of an opportunity to figure out what your identity is, and that's what happened in Minnesota. I mean, they started playing the best basketball of the season towards the end of the season. That's when you want to click. They figured out what their identity was. So I think that the trade worked out best for both teams. No, that New York didn't win the trade, Minnesota didn't win the trade. They both got what they needed. Then you look at a team like OKC, who's been dominating all season in the West. I mean, Cleveland had some crazy win streaks, but they were only like 4 or 5 games ahead of Boston. So, with that being said, and Cleveland was, for the most part, for the most of the season, they had the better record. OKC's just been clicking all year. I mean, they just play like a well-oiled machine. They're well coached. They have presumptively the MVP of this season, and in my opinion, the tougher conference, they had like a 12 or 13 game lead over Houston, second seed. 68 win season, best regular season in franchise history, dating back to the Seattle years. I think prior to that, it was 64 wins or something like that, and that's with Kemp and Peyton. 96, I think. The year the Bulls went 72. The went 72-10 Bulls. Seattle went 64-18 that year, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was their record. So OKC is where they're supposed to be. I mean, this is the second year in a row they finished with the number one overall seed. No, with the number one seed in the West. They didn't have number one overall seed last year. I think that was Boston. But they finished number one in the West 2 years in a row. Got to the second round. Conference finals is the next step. But you can't just be comfortable with the conference finals. No. You got to get over that hump, especially with you having presumptively the MVP. I don't think it's been announced yet. I mean, I hadn't had any alerts on my phone. So you can't be satisfied with just the conference finals. You got home court throughout. Whoever wants to win a championship, they got to go through y'all. This championship is supposed to be OKC's to lose. I think Ant-Man going to have something to say about that. And then you got the Indiana Pacers. Another team that I don't know if a lot of people really had them in the conference finals, but they made the conference finals last year. You know, they beat this New York Knicks team that they're going to face in the 7-game series. Now, granted, that Knicks team last year, if I'm not mistaken, Jalen Brunson was hurt. OG Anunoby was hurt. They didn't have Julius Randle. I don't think they had Mitchell Robinson. Again, this was previous to Cat. There was no Mikal Bridges. They still had Dante DiVincenzo. Josh Hart was there. So it was a completely different New York team. And it went 7. But they won that 7 game in New York. So, and I want to, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say they won it handily. It wasn't even a close game, if I'm not mistaken. Still don't know how many people had Indiana getting this far. Now, the first round, they beat up Milwaukee team. Dame goes out. Beat them in, 5? Second round, they beat Cleveland again, another beat up team. Garland missed the first two games. I think Jared Allen and DeAndre Hunter, if I'm not mistaken, missed a game or so. Cleveland was a little finicky. And again, I was never sold on Cleveland. I remember having a conversation with my pops, and he's saying that he thinks that Cleveland is the only team in the East that could do something with Boston. And I'm like, man, I don't know about Cleveland. I don't. Obviously, I was right. There's just something about them. I don't know, but they go through Cleveland like hot knife through butter, and now they're sitting right back in the conference finals, looking to avenge themselves. Were they swept? Did they get swept last year by Boston? I think they did get swept. But it was the first game, the game one. They had that game one, if I'm not mistaken, and it was at the game where Jaylen Brown hit the three in the corner, take it to overtime, and then Boston won it, and that just kind of changed the whole landscape of how that series went. I think that was that game one. So I don't know, but we're just gonna go through a real quick preview, and it is working. Real quick little preview, nothing too crazy. Now again, you can't really go off of regular season because teams they click the best when they get to this stage of the season. That's when you click the best. The Knicks and the Pacers, they played 3 times this season, regular season, and the Knicks won the season series 2-1. Knicks got a 128-115 win, a 123-98 win, and the Pacers got a 132-121 win. So let me just look at a few of these box scores. I'm just curious. This was back in October 24th, and this is exactly what I mean. Can't really go by the regular season record, the regular season series. This was the second game of the season for both of these teams. New York hadn't really figured out. It took New York a little bit of a time frame to get acclimated with Cat being there. A different identity for them as well, right? Jalen was now solidified as the absolute man because it was like, okay, whose team is this? That argument is always when you have two guys that can, I guess, be franchise type players. Whose team is it? Is it Jalen Brunson's team? Is it Julius Randle's team? Okay, you trade Julius Randle, you bring in Cat, even though Cat is a franchise type player, he's new. So he's not going to automatically come in and just, this is my squad. I don't even think KD did that when he went to Golden State. It was still Steph's squad. He was just there hooping. So now Jalen is solidified. And you even see a lot of times where Jalen has it going, Cat kind of defers a little bit, as well he should. So you can't really go by season series because, like I said, this game was the second game of the season for both of them back in October. New York put belt to ass, though. Belt to ass. Let's see. And Tyrese Halliburton didn't score a single point. Miles Turner had 13. Benedict Mathurin with 20 led them in scoring off the bench. Pascal with 12. And Karl-Anthony Towns had a good game, 21 and 15. Jalen Brunson with 26. Mikal Bridges, 21. Very top-heavy team. They depend on their starters. Josh Hart with 20 points. You get 20 points, 20 and 10. Josh Hart is a basketball player, dog. He is a basketball player. So, and then they met again. The Pacers won this one. This was in November again, very early in the season. Within 10 games of both of them. Let's see, Karl-Anthony Towns had 30 and 9. Jalen Brunson had 33, 10, and 6. Again, Josh Hart with a 16 and 10 game. OG had 25 points. Very, very top heavy. Like I said, that's the only thing that bothers me, or I guess not necessarily bothers me. Um, Give me a second. Change the title real quick. That's the only thing that really bothers me about New York. They're very top heavy. They rely so much on their starters. And I mean, and that's just that's a Thibodeau thing. And Josh Hart, he played 43 minutes this game. Mikal Bridges with 42 minutes. Jalen Brunson 41 minutes. Cat played 39 minutes. OG with 36 minutes. That's the only thing that kind of like, yo, and this is all season long for them. So, I mean, I know rotations get short in the postseason, but when you've been playing your guys like this all regular season and you already know that you're going to shorten up the rotation in the postseason, you know, salute to the New York Knicks strength and conditioning coaches. Jesus. Benedict Mathurin had 38 points this game. Jesus. Miles Turner with 26, and Tyrese he had a bounce back game, 35 and 14. If Tyrese is giving them games like this is not going to be as easy as I think New York Knicks fans might think this is going to be for them in the conference finals. And then they play one more time in February 11th. A little bit thicker in the season at this point. And New York was able to get a 128-115 victory. Karl-Anthony Towns is now, he's solidified into the rotation. Solidified into the franchise, into the squad. He here now. You know, he can just play game. He can just hoop. 40 and 12. 5 assists. Josh Hart gave you 30 and 10. Jesus. Jalen Brunson only gave you 8 points. I don't know if he got injured that game. I'm not sure. Jalen Brunson only give you 8 points, and he's supposed to be your guy, and you still win by 13 points. It's a dub and a half right there. It went a little deeper in the bench this time around. Landry Shamet had 11 points. Miles McBride with 15. He's an X factor for them. Let's see the Pacers. Pascal with the 24 ball. There was no Halliburton. He didn't play. Okay. Oh, yeah, he did play. I'm sorry. Dyslexia. I totally missed him. 16 points for Tyrese. Benedict had 18 off the bench. Thomas Bryant had 18. Miles Turner didn't play. So, my thoughts. I think I'm going to go with the Knicks in this series. I know the Pacers got to the conference finals last year. But just thinking about their history, I think the New York Knicks owe them one. Right? They got to the conference finals by beating the Knicks in the semis. So I think the Knicks, if healthy, I think the Knicks get Indiana. The Knicks have home court. This could very well be another 7-game series. I'll go Knicks in 7. I'll go Knicks in 7. Yeah. I'll go Knicks in 7. That's my pick. Knicks in 7. I'll go Knicks in 7. But only reason why is because I do think it's going 7, and I think home court advantage is really going to matter here this year. Not to say that Indiana can't beat them. I don't think that Indiana will beat them in a 7 game in New York 2 years in a row. If Indiana gets them, it's gonna have to be in 6. They're gonna have to do it at home. But I think New York. I think this is New York. I think it's gonna be. I think New York is gonna take a 3-2 lead into Indiana for Game 6, and Indiana probably will blow them out that Game 6. But then that Game 7 is probably gonna be close, and I think New York will take it. What's good, Nisha? Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Shout out to my niece. Her birthday is today. She grown now. So yeah, I'll go with the Knicks in 7. You're welcome. I'll go with the Knicks in 7. And then out west, we got the Thunder and the Timberwolves. Now again, we can't necessarily go based off of regular season series. Although they did split the season series 2-2. Had to go back to December 31st. The Thunder won 113 to 105. February 13th, Timberwolves get back, won 116-101. And then they play again February 23rd and February 24th. And they split it. The Thunder won 130 to 123. And then the Timberwolves win 131 to 128. And I think I remember that overtime game, because if I'm not mistaken, the Thunder were up. We'll get to it. Let me check the box score on this one. I want to say the Thunder were up and they choked the lead. It went to overtime and then or maybe that was Houston. Maybe I'm thinking about Houston. I might be thinking about Houston, Minnesota. Never mind. All right, so December 31st, still fairly early in the season. Thunder's rolling, 20-75 record at this point. And again, this is earlier in the season where Minnesota, they still haven't really solidified their identity yet without Cat. They're trying to figure out how, what's the dynamic between Ant-Man and Julius Randle and Gobert. Seem like they're going at each other, not wanting to pass the ball to Gobert. In some occasions, I've seen some clips where it's like, if I pass you the ball, all you're going to do is either blow a layup or get stripped or something. So it just seemed like they were kind of at odds earlier in the season and just trying to figure out what the dynamic of their team was going to be like. You see Julius Randle only had 11 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Ant-Man with 20 points, 7 boards. Naz Reid had 19 off the bench. Mike Conley was 16. And Rudy Gobert 8 and 7. So, don't know how many shots he might have detoured. You don't see it. Don't say that on him. Have the full breakdown on this. We're not just going through it all thoroughly. I'm just checking these box scores. Shea with 40 points. The MVP. Hardenstein with 15 and 10. And you got 14 from Lou Dort and Jalen Williams. And Chet was still out of the lineup at this time. So they were rolling early with no Chet. That makes them scary because they know how to play that. And to me, he's their second best player. I know Jalen Williams is kind of tapped in, but I would say that Chet is the second best player. Minnesota gets their get back. And they're starting to kind of sort of find their rhythm. Let's see. Chet is back in the lineup at this point, 11 and 12. Shea had 24, 8 and 9. Lou Dort with 14. Jalen Williams with 20. They lost that game by 15 points. Looked like Minnesota pretty much had control of the game throughout. Let's see here. Julius Randle did not play that game. See, so they gave Terrence Shannon Jr. some run. He had 13 off the bench. And Edwards with 23. Jaden McDaniels 21. Naz Reid with 27 and 14. Rudy didn't play either. So they were ready to get that game. That was a home game for Minnesota. And then they play again This is basically the front end on a back-to-back between the two of them. OKC wins the first matchup. Shea with 37, 8, and 8. Typical Shea, Gilgeous Alexander type of game. Chet gives you 19. Jalen gives you 18. Aaron Wiggins give you 15 off the bench. Alex Caruso with 11. They solidified at this point. Ant Edwards with 29 points. Nas with 22 and 11. And we had 10 boards as well. Jay McDaniels with 17 points, 13 boards. Nikhil Alexander Walker with 18 off the bench. Solid. Just couldn't get the job done. But they doubled back and said, hey, we need that back. And they played back to back. So it was a home and home. Damn, the NBA, they don't care when it comes to that. In Minnesota, I want to say they're like the furthest away from any of the other Western Conference teams. That's crazy. They should really be in the East. I think Minnesota, they travel the most of all Western Conference teams because they're the furthest away from all of the other Western Conference teams. I think. I could be wrong. Minnesota got their get back. No, I was right. Minnesota scored 41 points in the fourth quarter. They walked them down. I thought that was right. Yeah, OKC was up. Minnesota came back to take it to overtime. But I think there was a game Minnesota did the same thing to Houston as well. But yeah, I think I remember seeing this game. 41 in the fourth quarter. And Edwards only had 17 points, but they had the nice productivity from their bench. Let me see. No, Julius didn't play that game either. Jay McDaniels gave you 27 and 10. Naz Reid gave you 22 and 11, but you get 21 from Nikhil Alexander Walker, 17 from Terrence Shannon, and 12 from Rob Dillingham, which I don't know why they ain't playing this. I don't know why they not playing the rookie more. So dynamic. I know he's just out there playing off of instinct, and he probably don't know how to play the game yet. But I don't know why they ain't playing him more. Overall, I would say what I would like. I would like for Minnesota to pull it out. Now, I will say this. Whoever comes out of this Thunder Wolves series is who I would want to win the championship. So I'm pulling for the West this year. But I'm going to go Minnesota in 6. I'm going Minnesota in 6. Only reason why I'm going Minnesota in 6 is because I think Minnesota's going to win a series, but they're going to have to do it outside of a 7 game. Because I don't think they could go to OKC and win a 7 game in OKC. And the same with Indiana. I don't think Indiana's going to New York for a 7th game and win it in New York. I don't think that's the case. So I'm going Minnesota in 6. New York in 7. Minnesota in 6. You know, the interesting thing about this is if Minnesota wins, if Minnesota comes out the West, whoever comes out of the East is going to have home court. And I think that's kind of intriguing. New York or Indiana, they both would have home court over Minnesota. So, but I think Minnesota is at the point now. They were there last year with home court. And I didn't think Dallas was going to. I thought Dallas had a chance to win a series, but I didn't think Dallas was going to handle them the way that they handled them. They went through that. I think they've kind of gotten their lumps, and you can say the same thing about Indiana also. So I wouldn't be surprised if Indiana were to come out of that series, but I just think that it would be more of an interesting storyline if it's New York versus Minnesota, just because of the trade that happened prior to the season And this will, let us know who actually won the trade between the Timberwolves and the Knicks. Because I think they both did. I do. Now, again, this is going to be a short series because I just want to preview these real quick. But I just wanted to look at this. Now, the NBA know they on some bullshit, right? This is the schedule. Make sure that you can see it. Scoot it over. Okay. This is the schedule. It's every other day for both series. Every other day. Regardless of the travel, it's every other day. So the Wolves play their game 1 tomorrow, which is Tuesday. And then Wolves and Thunder tomorrow. Pacers Knicks is Wednesday. Wolves and Thunder Thursday. Pacers and Knicks Friday. Wolves and Thunder Saturday. Pacers Knicks Sunday, and so on and so forth. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's every other day, even on travel days. So, typically there would be like a buffer day in between the travel days. So game 1 and game 2, there might be, just a day in between them. So say the Wolves and Thunder, they play tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and then game 2, they play again Thursday. Both of those games are in OKC. But then you would have like Friday, and then instead of playing Saturday, they would play game 3 Sunday in Minnesota. No. Every game is every other day. I didn't think it used to be like that. Like conference finals and the finals, I thought they had more time in between them. Both series are like that. Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Monday for the Knicks and the Pacers. Thought that was interesting. Maybe I'm wrong, but I always thought that they had more time in between the travel days. So in between games 2 and 3, and then in between games 4 and 5, and then, since it's 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, it wasn't just, every other day. I don't know. Thought it was interesting. But, that's why we're seeing the abundance of injuries, because these dudes ain't really that conditioned. They don't train as much as you think. As much money as that's in the NBA today, I don't think they train as hard as the NBA players did back in the day. Could be wrong, but I don't think so. Anyways, I appreciate anybody and everybody that pulled up to the stream. I'm gonna let y'all go early. How many times? Not bad. 30 minutes. Not bad. That's a quick little preview. I might stream a watch along tomorrow. So who's that play tomorrow? Timberwolves and Thunder. I might hop on live. Might hop on live while I'm watching the game. Maybe. Depending on how I feel when I get home. Maybe. But I appreciate anybody and everybody that pulled up to the stream tonight. Hit the subscribe button if you are new to the channel on your way out the door. Hit the like button as well if you like the stream. It's good for the channel, algorithms, things of that nature. Appreciate you. Love you. Have a good rest of your night. Peace.